Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome to the first, surprisingly a little bit, the first midweek program, full program of Championship fixtures of the new season, and it effectively takes us to game week 8. So that's where we are. All the fixtures take place this coming Tuesday and Wednesday across those two evenings. Just a quick look back at Saturday's. Not to the results necessarily, but how it's left the table. Middlesbrough dropped a couple of points down at Southampton, or picked up a point if you think that was a tough fixture for them, and they have moved on to 17 points and still have a 4-point cushion at the top of the table over Coventry, who've now sneaked in or leapt into second place with their good win at the weekend, which we'll quickly mention as we do their fixture. And then we've got everybody else, of course, mixing and matching it in the middle of the table. And there were some 7 draws this week, 6 1-1 draws. So if you had your money on a 1-1 draw in any of the games, you probably got some return on it. 6 1-1 draws and a 0-0. So 7 draws in all. So if you were able to get a win this weekend, you certainly stole a march on some of the other sides in the table. So it really is a tight championship. There were low-scoring games last week, if you remember. I think 4 or 5 1-0s. And this week we had 6 1-1 draws and a 0-0. So it's tight old stuff in the championship at the moment. Nobody giving away much to anybody. But what have we got? So Middlesbrough, as I say, still have that 4-point cushion from their excellent start. And Sheffield United got off the mark, both with points and wins. So Chris Wilder took 2 games to get things moving up at Sheffield United, but Bramall Lane. And they picked up a 1-0 win down at Oxford, who will be disappointed to have lost that game. Not because it was Sheffield United, just because they didn't follow up their excellent win at Bristol City the week before. So there we are. So that's the top and bottom. Everybody else shuffling around in the middle. As I say, game week 8. We'll get through these predictions then. As I say, it's a midweek affair. And we start on Tuesday evening, all 7:45 bar 1 at 8 o'clock UK time. And we have Birmingham City against Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Birmingham went down 3-0 to Coventry, but did have a man sent off in the first half. So they will be a bit aggrieved about that. Didn't see it, so I don't know what went on there, really. Other than they had a man down for over half the match. And Sheffield Wednesday backed up their point, picking up 3 points down at Portsmouth. Not a piece there. The week before. And they backed up by picking up another point. So they've just got to keep their points tally ticking over, which they did. And it keeps them ahead of their neighbours, although the neighbours won, of course. And they had a good point against home to Queen's Park Rangers. So, but I think Birmingham might be just too much for them on Tuesday night. I'm going to go Birmingham City 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Then we have Blackburn Rovers. Now, Blackburn had a slightly worrying defeat, you would think, down at Charlton. 3-0 they went down quite comfortably, and then had a man sent off as well. However, they've still got to do the stuff against 10 men. That's never easy, as we all know. So Blackburn want to come back from that difficult afternoon. And Swansea had a 1-each draw, one of the many, with Millwall. So they both picked up a point there, Swansea and Millwall. So what's going to happen on Tuesday night? I think Blackburn will sort of have to spark into life here, because they're looking at the table. They're down in that cluster at the bottom at the moment. I know there's no mileage in it really between anybody, but I'm going to go Blackburn to get up and running, or back up and running. Blackburn 2, Swansea 0. Then we have Bristol City against Ipswich Town. Now, Bristol City picked up a plucky point, I think, at Preston. More peas. A plucky point at Preston for Bristol City. And a 0-0 draw. That was the 0-0 draw I spoke about. So much ado about not much there, but other than a valuable point, of course, for the away side. And Ipswich Town eased past Portsmouth at Portman Road. They were 2-0 up quite early on in the game, or certainly before half time. So I think it was a bit of a comfortable ride, although Portsmouth did grab one back in their improved second half performance. Portsmouth just sliding down. They had a bit of a promising start, but they do desperately need to win their game as we'll see who they're playing a bit later. But Bristol City and Ipswich then, I think Ipswich are looking just nicking points, aren't they? Getting results. They're still only mid-table though, but they have had that game. I say only mid-table. They're still in a mid-table slot, but they did have that game abandoned, which they were losing admittedly. However, they've got the chance to get the points back from that. So that would, if they had won that, they'd have been well up in the top bracket. So I think they'll go to Ashton Gate and tumble Bristol City. That's me to say that, as you know. But I think they've just still got that Premiership pedigree in their ranks. Bristol City are tough at home. There was a surprise defeat against Oxford. They weren't silly or want to have back-to-back defeats, and their home record has been phenomenal. Not many teams leave with 3 points in the back pocket. But I think it'll be a tough night for Bristol City. I think Ipswich will show their class. Their sort of recent Premiership class. I know they were cut adrift really. But we'll go Bristol City 1, Ipswich Town 2. Now we have Hull and Preston. Hull had a disappointing defeat against Watford. Down at Watford. And as I say, Preston had the 0-0 draw with Bristol City. I don't think there'll be much in this either. I think we're going to go back to type and have a 1-1 draw here. So I'm going to go Hull City 1, Preston North End 1. Leicester City against Wrexham. Now Wrexham had, for them, will be a disappointing draw at home to Derby. 2 more points dropped. For them, Wrexham are 15th place at the moment on a cluster of teams on 8 points. And Leicester City just in the playoff bracket on 12 points. So everyone's really chopping points of everybody else. And only Middlesbrough really have just got that little bit of momentum and gap away from the rest. But I think Leicester City will come up trumps at home against Wrexham. I'm going to say Leicester City 3, Wrexham 1. Wrexham do concede goals, don't they? Middlesbrough against Stoke. Middlesbrough being a bit gritty about their results at the moment, but they're getting them still on fair play. So they will be looking to get another home win chalked up against Stoke, who are in 3rd place. So this would really be to push them away. I mean, there are lots of other teams that could slide in and still be there or thereabouts, of course. But for just taking it, Stoke being in 3rd place, it's a chance to put a 7-point gap between them. And I think they'll just about do it, but only sneak it by a goal to 0. I'm going to go Middlesbrough 1, Stoke City 0. Then we have Sheffield United coming back in front of their own fans, having got 3 points on the road. Stopped that horrible run of defeats that they were having in all competitions, and Chris Wilder is back at the helm. So, second match, of course, because they lost the first one to Charlton. So, Sheffield United and against Southampton. Now, Southampton are just really not getting started at all. They're in 19th place on 7 points, and they really were expecting to be up in the top. Well, they may well end up there, who knows, but they haven't had the start they envisaged. However, I think they will go up to Sheffield, and even though Sheffield United have got their tails up a little bit, or at least from between their legs at the moment, then I think Southampton will go there and get the points. But again, another close one. Sheffield United 1, Southampton 2. Then we have Derby County against Charlton Athletic. And Derby had a 1-each draw at Wrexham, as we said. Southampton had the 1-each draw with Middlesbrough, as we mentioned. Sorry, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Charlton. I was looking at the wrong list. It's Derby against Charlton. Charlton had an excellent 3-0 win over Blackburn. So, yes, Southampton was the match above. Sorry, my eyes weren't in line there. So, we got Derby against Charlton, and that's the 8 o'clock, the final game on Tuesday. And I think Derby, under lights, might just fire up. So, I'm going to go Derby 2, Charlton 0. That takes us on to Wednesday. 4 games left on for the Wednesday evening. First of those is Millwall against now 2nd place Coventry. Coventry had that 3-0 win over Birmingham, 10-man Birmingham. Millwall dug out a 1-each draw against Swansea. I think Coventry might just be rejuvenated again. I think they'll go down to the Den, New Den, take the points on a Wednesday night. That's always a tough thing to do. But I'm going to go Millwall 1, Coventry City 2. Now here's a difficult one to predict. You just never know with these two teams the way they started off. That's Norwich and West Bromwich Albion. Norwich City are having a poor run at home and not the greatest of runs overall at the moment. They've got 8 points. Many of those, I think 5 of those at least, have come away from home. So they are playing West Bromwich Albion, another bit of an enigma at the moment. It's just firing up, getting wins, and then suddenly they get knocked back. They had a decent 1-1 draw on Friday night, though, against Leicester. So they picked points off their rivals there. I think they'll go to Norwich and exploit the frailty, the fragility that Norwich have, especially in front of their own fans. They do seem a little bit nervous, a little bit tense, and perhaps Liam Manning is still finding his way and stuff. All of those factors just seem to be unstable in Norwich a little bit. I'm going to go Norwich City 1, West Bromwich Albion 3. 2 matches left. Now we have down at Fratton Park under the lights on Wednesday, Portsmouth versus Watford. To me, this is a real chance for either side to stamp their authority on whether they're going to move away from the bottom areas of the table that they've slid into. Portsmouth on 17th, Watford 16th, both on 8 points, so it's all still very close down there, of course. But Portsmouth had a sort of an easy, and when I mean easy, too comfortable 2-1 loss to Ipswich on Saturday. Following on from that surprise home defeat to Sheffield Wednesday the week before, so suddenly they've got a little mini slump to arrest. And Watford had a decent 2-1 home win against Hull. Now Watford know what to expect. All the teams know what to expect down at Fratton Park. You get really given a rousing reception from the home faithful. They certainly let you know they're around. It's a great atmosphere. It will be under lights. But I think Portsmouth are just on the brink here. This is a game they really want on paper. They would be thinking 3 points in their grand scheming of the season. I think it'll be shared, though. I'm going to go Portsmouth 1, Watford 1. And finally, on Wednesday night, we have Queen's Park Rangers against Oxford United. Oxford United, as we know, were the first team to drop points to Sheffield United. And Queen's Park Rangers, ironically, played the other Sheffield side and, as we said earlier on, got a 1-each draw. Sheffield United took a 1-each draw off them. Sheffield Wednesday took a 1-each draw off them, which was good. So, for them. So, we've got QPR home to Oxford. I think this will be pretty routine for QPR. Oxford had that brilliant win down at Ashton Gate. As I said, very few teams win there, but they chalked up the 3 points and went home with them. And then they fell down at home to Sheffield United. And now they're away at QPR. QPR playing some decent stuff up into the top 10. I think QPR will take this one to round off game week 8, round off the first midweek fixtures of the season. QPR 2, Oxford United 0. So there we have it, a midweek bonanza this week. So it's one of those weeks where you get three matches for all the teams. Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, if you like. So it's a chance to get some points on the board if you win all 3 games. My goodness, you do shoot up the table, especially at this early time of the season. So there we are. We will return again for the weekend, reflect on some of the midweek stuff. Perhaps under lights we'll get a bit more excitement and goals and stuff, and teams branching out and get away from these draws. Too many draws, 7 draws. There we go. That's the nature of the league, though, isn't it? You never know what's going to happen. We don't know. We'll find out. Please stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you all again on towards the weekend. And please subscribe to the channel, this excellent channel that the guys put together for us, and get your friends and family to click that button. That's all it takes, 1 click to get the numbers ticking upwards for them. So thank you very much for your time once again. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.